So, what happens when gods go to war? We tend to focus on the epic battles, right? But what about the fallout? Today, we're diving deep into the toxic aftermath of one such cosmic conflict to explore a truly terrifying new entity, an alchemist of the abyss known only as the Captain. Just let that phrase sink in for a moment. Accidental runoff. This creature wasn't designed, it wasn't summoned, it was an industrial accident on a cosmic scale, a horrifying consequence of a power so vast it leaves behind poison. And really, that's the core question we're digging into here. When beings with this much power clash, maybe the real terror isn't in their punches, but in the echoes, the shadows, and the toxic sludge they leave in their wake. To really get a handle on the Captain, you first have to understand the war that created him. And this wasn't just a war of armies, but a fundamental cosmic argument known as the dialectic of the abyss. Okay, so on one side of this conflict, you have Glaucus. He's the ultimate I am, the embodiment of creation, of will, of the logos. He's the absolute I, a being whose power comes from asserting his own reality. Then, on the other side, you've got the Mephistophelian shadow. Its whole deal is negation. It's the spirit who denies, a force of pure void that looks at all creation and just says, nope. So, this is a war between absolute existence and absolute nothingness. So where does the Captain fit into all this? Well, that's the scary part. He doesn't pick a side. He's not on team existence or team nothingness. He is the unintended consequence. He's the parasite that grew in the wound left by their battle. And where this all went down is absolutely crucial. The Sargasso Rift. We're talking about a place of immense crushing pressure at the bottom of the sea, but it's also a cosmically significant spot. It's the very same place where Glaucus first flexed his divine will and became a god. This was hallowed ground. As these two titans fought, their power literally tore the sea apart at a molecular level, and what spilled out was something called Palingenios energy. The best way to think of it is like divine exhaust. It's the raw, discarded willpower of a god. Incredibly potent, but totally aimless and toxic. Now, all this raw cosmic poison needed somewhere to go, somewhere to coalesce. And it found the most tragically ironic vessel imaginable, the brass astrolabe of a human navigator. A man who used this tool to trust the stars, to believe in a plan, in providence. That faith was about to be proven very, very wrong. And see, this divine runoff didn't just give him superpowers. Oh no, it was so much worse. It unmade him completely, then rebuilt him into something new and horrifying through a process of hydroalchemy. It happened in stages. First, his very biology was rewritten from the inside out. He became a kind of water vampire. His warm blood was replaced by a cold, colorless saline ichor. No heat, no mercy. Next, that astrolabe, the symbol of his human life, literally melted and fused to his palm. He was no longer a navigator. He was a living conduit for all the chaotic leftovers of the deep. And finally, when his ship, the Morning Star, was destroyed, he didn't drown. He just dissolved. He became a ghost of pure malice, a deep ocean nomad. I mean, that image right there says it all, doesn't it? Like a stain of oil. He's no longer a creature in the water, he is the pollution in the water, an unnatural contamination that can never, ever be washed away. So a being like this, what can it actually do? Well, his power is basically a dark, twisted inversion of the very god whose runoff created him. And it's all focused on one terrifying substance. He commands something called chaos water. And let's be very clear. This isn't the life-giving H2O that Glaucus controls. This is an alchemical poison, an entropic fluid that doesn't just dissolve the steel hull of a ship. It keeps going until it rots your very soul. When you put them side by side, the contrast is just startling. Glaucus masters the three natural states of water. The Captain wields chaos water. Glaucus rules by divine presence. The Captain rules through nihilistic consumption. And here's the wild part. Glaucus is the master of the sea. The Captain, he just folds the sea, using its hidden wounds like cosmic shortcuts. One is a divine king. The other is a predator born from that king's hubris. Which brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it?
What does the king of nothing actually want? What's the endgame for a being powered by pure nihilism and entropy?
Now, you'd think he'd just be on board with the Shadow, wanting to dissolve everything back into primordial chaos. But he's not. His ambition is something else entirely. Something more focused and, you could argue, much more horrifying. He seeks a state of absolute drought. And this is his entire worldview, right here. To the captain, every living thing, you, me, every plant, every animal, we're not beings. We are simply vessels, bags of water. And all that water is just waiting for him to steal it. So what does victory look like for a king like that? A king whose entire philosophy is built on theft and drying out the world. What's the final objective? The answer is so simple and so absolute. Total dehydration. Not just of a person or a city or even a continent. He wants it all, every last drop. And this is the ultimate expression of his jagged nihilism. It's not just about destruction. It's about proving a point. He wants to enact the ultimate paradox, to make the source of all water, the vast, seemingly endless ocean itself, die of thirst, just to prove that it can be done. So in the end, that's what he is. He is a living monument to the silence of the sea and the complete, utter indifference of the gods. He's gathering up all the poisons of a world that once promised him a destination, and he's going to use them to unmake it. And that's what I want to leave you with. In a world with beings this powerful, we're always scared of them, but maybe we're scared of the wrong thing. Maybe the greatest horror isn't the gods themselves, but the poison they leave behind.